This is Brian with ScreenPlots.com and Trailer to Reaction. I wouldn't call myself a Star Wars fan, and that wasn't always the case. Reason being, the first Star Wars mystified me. It was so practical, effects-wise, and the story was all archetypes, frankly. Very much a simple story of good versus evil, and done in such a way that it was just amazing to me. The first Star Wars was incredible. They came then with The Empire Strikes Back, and that was even better. Darker, more intense, more adult, in fact. So that movie really impressed me, and I was hooked. And then came The Last Jedi. Directed by Richard Marquand. And that movie, not so much. It wasn't terrible by any stretch, but it didn't, in my mind, build on what preceded it in a fashion that made it interesting, or as interesting as the prior two movies. And plus, Ewoks. I think they're sort of silly, frankly. So, oh yeah, and the way that they can destroy modern tech was ridiculous. And I know this is an aside, but when I see stormtroopers being hurt by rocks, that bothers me. Because why are you wearing armor? This armor, I assumed at the time, was blast-proof. It isn't. But it doesn't seem to stop anything. What's the point? It's weighing you down. It's not efficient. I imagine the range of sight is very narrow. Why are you wearing it? It doesn't help. In any case, that kind of started to make the Star Wars train a little rickety for me. Again, not terrible, but a little uncertain. And then came the prequels. And that kind of shat the bed. Though not for the reasons you may think. In a sense that Lucas's vision was really bold with them. Essentially, it was kind of Avatar. I believe they came before Avatar. I'm not 100% on that. But in any case, it's the idea of a virtual studio in that most of your effects are CG, computer generated. And so your sets are minimal. You have them, but they're minimal. And everything else is computer generated. And that's a bold idea. Unfortunately, the story didn't quite work so well. I mean, do we really need to see the machinations of the Senate on Coruscant? It was just dopey and sort of boring, frankly. The train was already, as I mentioned with Return of the Jedi, kind of shaky. With the prequels, it's kind of going off the rails, though the train wreck happened with Return of the Jedi. The Force Awakens wasn't terrible, a retread of what we've seen before for the most part, but not a terrible movie. With Return of the Jedi, the shit just went off the rails, in the sense that Return of the Jedi seemed not at all cognizant that there were 7 movies before it. And it just kind of ignored them and just did whatever it wanted to do. And that's an important point to mention because Return of the Jedi, no matter what people say, is not a bad movie. The problem with Return of the Jedi is it is not cognizant, at least it doesn't seem cognizant, of the fact that it's part of a series of movies. It does things that ignore continuity, that ignore character development, and sometimes just destroys it flat off. So in that fashion, it's a terrible movie. It's not a bad movie though as a Star Wars movie, it's terrible. It's like Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel is not a bad movie. It's a terrible Superman movie, but it's not a bad movie. It's a good alien invasion movie. Terrible Superman movie. So The Last Jedi is a terrible Star Wars movie. And so at this point, I honestly don't care. I think Disney buying Lucasfilm was a terrible business decision. And so they're now coming up with a streaming platform, which I also think is a terrible decision. And it's going to feature movies from Marvel Studios, Pixar, and Lucasfilm. So they're creating television series based on properties from those 3 shingles. And I'm not at all crazy about this idea. As I just mentioned, I think Disney Plus is a stupid idea. Dumb idea from a business standpoint. And so I'm not at all crazy about this for a start. And now, and recently at D23, which is a Disney 23rd Expo, I think it's in Florida or California. In any case, they unveiled the slate, some of the slate for the upcoming Disney Plus. And while some things interest me, Moon Knight and WandaVision in particular, the only thing Star Wars-wise that was revealed as a trailer was The Mandalorian, which is based upon, I guess, someone in the Boba Fett lineage. Again, I don't care about this much. Remember Return of the Jedi, where they killed Boba Fett in the lamest way possible, which, interestingly enough, is very similar to the way they killed off Captain Phasma in The Last Jedi. Really a waste of a character and pointless. So, let's take a look at the trailer for The Mandalorian. As if that's hard to do. They're stormtroopers. Looks very cinematic, I'll give it that. Carl Weathers, great actor. Jesus Christ, this is an expensive series. Death Troopers. Giancarlo Esposito, great actor.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Don't you agree?
Oh, the director, he's really, oh man, what's his name? I'm blanking. That looks friggin' awesome. Oh my god, Werner Herzog. That was Werner Herzog. Oh man, I actually want to see it, oddly enough, because Werner fucking Herzog is in it. He looks, I mean, his voice is so awesome. And the thing is, I actually only care about Disney Plus for the Marvel content. And now The Mandalorian. This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com and Trailer into Reaction. Peace.